How are you? So glad you could join us. My name is Rachelle with Get Your Space Right. And tonight we will be talking about the power of staging. I can add Rachel, who will be our special guest for this evening, and she will be joining me for this wonderful conversation on staging. Hey!
I did it!
I am so glad you were able to join us.
Thank you.
How is your Thursday going for you?
It's going well, and yours?
It is going good. I'm glad. It would be a little better if it was a Friday, but that's okay.
Right. We're almost there. It's
a day away, right?
Right. It's like Thursday Junior. What is it? Friday Junior or something they call it?
Or Friday Eve.
Friday Eve. Okay.
You know, Friday Eve, Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve.
All the Eves. Friday Eve it is. I like that.
Hey. But are you doing anything special for the holidays?
Just spending time with family. My nephew, he's one, and I just love that little guy so much, so I like to spend all my time with him.
Nice. How old is he?
He's one.
Oh, enjoy this time. It goes by so fast.
I know. I can't believe he's one. But I love this time of year because it's my birthday month. The whole month is my birthday, so obviously,
I get to celebrate all month long.
All the things.
Well, that sounds like a really good time.
Yes, so I'm looking forward to it, and I will see you on my birthday because we'll be celebrating together.
I cannot wait. I think we have a lot of things to celebrate this year.
Yes, we do. I can't wait.
Okay, so tonight we're going to be talking about staging. Now, so for everyone who's going to join, whether they're on live now or whether they're going to watch this after the fact, why don't you give a little introduction? Tell them a little bit about yourself.
Yes, so for everybody who doesn't know me, my name is Rachel. I am a New York State's licensed real estate salesperson. I've been licensed for this January is going to make officially 8 years in the business, and it's something that I truly enjoy doing just because I'm in a role that allows me to help other people. And I also get to participate in the investor side, which I love that too. So I do fix and flips. I do long-term investment. So for me, real estate it's my career, but I also get to have fun with it. And so that's the part that's really exciting for me, and being able to help people as I gain knowledge and share my experiences and help guide them through the process.
Well, we have lots to dip into because I love that you are in every stage of it. So it's not like your hand is just at the beginning level or even at the closing level, but you're able to do all of the different elements of it.
Yeah. So it's awesome. And I'm grateful that you invited me here today. And I just love what you're doing because it's such an important part in the home buying process and selling process. So it'll be great to expand on that tonight.
Absolutely. So for everyone who doesn't know, if this is your first time tuning into this channel, my name is Rachelle Wright, and I am the CEO, the owner, the founder, the head designer, the head organizer, whatever you want to call it, all of the things for Get Your Space Right, where I help people organize their space, where we take small spaces and we are able to get creative and come up with solutions so that it doesn't feel cramped, so that it feels intentional. Now, one of the other aspects of Get Your Space Right is helping people to stage their home. Now, some of you may know that term. Some of you may be in the market of getting ready to sell your home. Some people may be thinking about what are the elements if you're getting ready to enter that chapter. And so, Rachel, why don't you tell us a little bit about what, from your perspective, staging is?
I feel like staging really sets the tone of the home that you're going to tour and walk in, right? So for me, it's important for anybody who's walking in to be able to envision themselves being in that space. Like when you walk into a space that is just like, you're like, oh, I could see myself living here. I could just, it's almost like, when we say curb appeal, right? So that's the first thing that when you pull up to a house and you see the curb appeal, you're instantly attracted and gravitated towards it. And so you want to keep that flow to continue throughout the entirety of the house. And that doesn't even mean that every room has to be staged, which I know we'll touch a little bit later on in our conversation. But it's definitely something that sets the tone for sure.
Absolutely. When I think of staging, it has a couple different elements, right? And so one of the elements that I think about staging is, and it directly connects to get your space right, is organization. Because one thing that you do not want, whether it's photos, and you're putting the pictures online so that it can be shared on a website, or it's a person walking into your space, is you don't want them walking into clutter. Like, that is a huge turnoff. Not only does clutter make it look unorganized, it also makes the space feel smaller. And so you want people to walk into your space and it feel massive. Even if it's a studio, you want it to be the biggest studio they've ever walked into. But every time you add clutter to a space, that is immediately what draws your eye. And so, like, that is the surface level of staging, right?
Yep.
Is removing the things that you don't want to detract from the offer. Because when you're thinking about because let's face it, sometimes people think of staging and they're like, well, this is an extra expense, right? And so matter of fact, I think I'm jumping the gun. That's a little bit down the line. Let's stay right here because there are so many elements. But so when we're thinking about staging, not only are we thinking about decluttering, we're also thinking about, in some ways, depersonalizing the home. Because if you walk into a space and it has tons of pictures on the walls and it has all of these elements that make it your own, that's your way of inviting someone into your home. So when you walk into my house right now, you are very much aware that you are walking into my house because it has my personality everywhere. But when you're staging your home, you almost want that person to walk in and feel like they're walking into their home. Like, right. It's full of their possibilities. And so it's finding that sweet spot. So to put it lightly, there are many different elements of staging.
Oh, and yeah.
Now, let's see. Let's go ahead and jump right in. So if we're looking at it and we're talking about why it matters, especially in New York City, because right now, a lot of the people that we're talking to are local. So whether they're in New York City, whether they're in Long Island, when we're talking about New York, what would you say is the importance of staging in our specific demographic?
So, you want to be able to stand out amongst the competition because, in the line of work that I'm in, a lot of the times I'm going to look at other homes that are probably not staged. And the statistics are there to prove what I'm saying. It is, the facts are the facts. A home that is staged has just like a higher probability in terms of how quickly it's going to sell and the level of interaction and engagement that the consumers are going to like. It's just going to be like they naturally gravitate towards a home that is staged because, to your point, it looks clean, it's decluttered. The color and the lighting of, just the pictures alone are what is going to draw in the audience into the homes. So it's so important because I think it allows you to stand out amongst the competition, especially when you're seeing so many homes that are like, they're empty. So now in your mind, you're like, okay, I'm going to put like the couch here. I'm going to, like you're trying to paint the picture. So by having it staged, you're removing that step for the person who's coming in. So now they see it and now it's just about, okay, I'll change this furniture. I'll put this dining table. I'll put this living room set. So it's easier to kind of like swap things in and out as opposed to like, ooh, what am I gonna do with this space? And this doesn't even mean that individual has to set it up in that same manner, but it allows them like a foundation of where to start, just to have some ideas, as opposed to just simply having just such a blank canvas and they're like, I don't know how to utilize this space. And then there's also at times where there are rooms that they're like, it's an extra room or it's a little quirky, right? And it's just like, I don't really know how to use this space. But if myself as the professional can explain to like my current homeowner like the benefits of staging the home or investing in this space for the buyer to not be like, what am I going to do here? Or I don't need it. But if you're able to setting the stage for them, yeah, pun intended, it is going to reduce that level of confusion, that uncertainty, and it's going to put them at ease because maybe they'll never use it as the way you set it up, but it's just giving them ideas of the possibilities that are there.
Absolutely. It's creating possibilities. That's exactly what staging is. It's doing the homework for them, right? It's kind of giving them a cheat code. It's like, here's this awkward space that you don't know what to do. Here's what you can do with it. And then as soon as and all you're doing is planting that seed. And as soon as you plant that seed, then it blooms and like, oh, I never thought of it that way. Well, I wouldn't use it for the kitchen, but maybe I can use this for my office. Maybe I can use this for a play area. Oh, I had no idea. Mm-hmm. But then also, especially in New York, that we have to think of is there's two different kinds of staging. So there's staging for the empty house that is a brand new property or something, and you're trying to create furniture, but then there's also staging for that person who's living in the space right now. And so there's those two different sides of it. And so staging can be putting in borrowed furniture so that you're able to create those possibilities in an empty space, but it can also be using the furniture that the person already has and doing that step of decluttering and depersonalizing to make it look more inviting. Now, I'll tell you a quick story about standing out in New York City. The studio that I live in right now, I remember it was up on the market. It was up on Street Easy at the time. Mm-hmm. And I scrolled right past it. Like it was like I looked at the apartment and it had these mustard yellow walls. Like that's exactly how I felt when I saw it. I was like, what? I could not get past the paint color. And so yes, staging is about more than just the stuff. Like if you're someone who loves personality and you have all of these different colors in your home, everybody might not be as bright. And everybody might not be as drawn to colors. So those can play a huge impact in how quickly someone attaches to your home or detaches from your home. And so when I was looking at this picture, the picture on Street Easy, like I could not get past the color. And it was up on Street Easy for months. And finally, a few months later, I said, you know what? Let me go and check it out. And when I went to check it out, first of all, it was not quite the mustard yellow, but it was like that dirty beige, that renter's beige, which on pictures came out to that mustard yellow. And needless to say, if you can see behind me, I painted the whole apartment white. So we got rid of that color as soon as I got there. But sometimes people don't make it to that step. Sometimes you don't make it off the app into going to the place because of something so small as a paint color or something as so small as a cluttered picture. And so when you're talking about standing out, when you have dozens or hundreds of other competitors out here, staging is that small detail that can make you really stand out.
Yeah. And I mean, to your point, even when it comes to like some of the staging, like just to add on to that, sometimes it could be something so simple, and I'll tell you what I mean. I'll expand on it. So sometimes it's a light fixture, right? So imagine you're walking into the house, but you see such an old, dated light fixture, right? Just simply like going to Amazon, Home Depot, Lowe's, and switching out a light fixture can make all the changes in a room. So it doesn't even have to be like, oh, you need to paint the whole house, because sometimes that's not what's needed. Also, just like the light bulbs, right? So you want to have like a consistent lighting throughout, right? You don't want like a soft, white, and then you have your bright white over here. Like it's uneven. So it's kind of like what is going on. We're in a cool and warm temperature, like lighting all at the same time. So simple like elements like that just allow for consistency and a nice flow. So it's, you know, not everything is always has to be as extravagant as someone may perceive it to be. It can really be that simple. Hey, let's just change out that light fixture. Like, you know, let's get something a little bit more modern to like flow with the room. Just maybe even changing out like a plant, you know, like in a room, or to what you referenced earlier is using the furniture you have, but just rearranging it. And that alone can make all the difference. So staging does not have to be like such an expensive expense. It can also just be something very minimal.
Well, I'll add on to there where sometimes it can be free, right? And so I remember at one point I was checking out a house, and before I
cut you off just a little bit, and then we're gonna go back. It seems that maybe you're not visible on the camera, so I don't know if you have to like. Someone just made a note of that. I just saw it pop up.
Let me see.
Okay.
Can you see me now?
I see you. Yeah. I hope you'll comment and let us know we can see you
in the chat. Let me know if that made a difference. If you can see me now, I'm gonna assume you can, unless you tell me different.
Okay. I see you, but I don't know if they can see you. But you were just telling us about
well, one time where I was checking out a house, I was going to walk into the house, and before I could even get to the door, like they had all of this trash that had blown in front of the door. Like first impressions matter, right? I can see your eyes now.
I don't know. I see you though. I don't know what's happening.
If you can point your camera down a little, that might be helpful. Okay, well, we're learning together. So thank you for sharing these insights, because you can see better than I can. Okay. Is that better?
Let's see.
Good?
Hold on. I'm
reading your comments. So let me know.
Well, there's definitely a lot more of you on the screen now. So, I mean, at least I'll say keep going until we hear otherwise. Perfect. Anastasia says perfect. Love it.
Thank you so much.
Jaya says perfect. A lot of perfect going on. All right. Thanks for all the love, everybody.
All I see is my vitamins in the background, but that's okay. I'm staying healthy this holiday season. But going back to what we were saying, it can sometimes the little details are what matter, and sometimes they're free. Like it costs you nothing to grab a rake, grab a broom, and clean up in front of your doorstep. Like people shouldn't have to walk through trash or weeds in your garden in order to be able to get to the front door. Now, granted, that might be something they take care of on the back end, and I'm not telling you to go and buy a brand new garden, but sometimes it's those small details that make a big difference, because that first impression can't be redone.
Nope.
Now, I'll ask you this. From your perspective, is there any specific data or even just experiences that you've had where you can see the difference that staging made? Maybe it was how it looked beforehand and how it looked after.
Yes. So I can say that I've seen a home that wasn't staged, and it just kind of really sat on the market for a while. And then when they took it upon, they decided to take another step and, you know, do something different and incorporate the staging. We saw movement. We saw more engagement, and the house was able to actually move across towards the finish line. You know, have somebody put in an offer, get accepted. It was either at the asking price or maybe slightly above, believe it or not. And it was just simply because the home was staged, or they gave it a different, you know, look. Sometimes a homeowner will actually take it off the market, and they will make those adjustments to the home, and then they'll do a refresher and put it back on the market. And believe it or not, that makes a big difference as well. So, you know, it's kind of like what you put in, you can expect to, you know, get it back.
Absolutely. Sometimes it's a small investment, but that investment not only saves you time on the market, but sometimes it even ups the price.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you have to think about it that way. Like, it's not something that you're losing, it's something that you're investing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So another type of, and maybe you have some more knowledge about this, but another type of staging, I feel like we keep just talking about all the different elements. But recently I went to, I was looking online at a condo, and like it was beautifully like laid out and all of these pictures were amazing. And then I was like, okay, I gotta go check this place out. And I went there and the place looked nothing like the photos. And so what had happened was they had digitally staged the place. I think that's the correct term.
Correct.
And so
virtually.
so that's, first of all, that's a different element, right? So when we're talking about staging, sometimes people think physically changing the space, which that is absolutely a part of it. But nowadays with AI and all of this technology, there are digital ways to be able to do that too. Now, I will say, from my perspective, both as an individual and I also talk about it a little bit as a professional, is looking at the pictures online, it definitely did what we said. It showed me possibilities. It showed me the expansiveness of the space. It got me to the door, right? It got me to where I had to see this place. But when I got there and the pictures looked one way and the reality looked a different way, first of all, I might have felt a little bit catfished, but what I can say is that while they don't always have to be identical, because you can be showing, like, you don't have to go out and buy all the same furniture if you were doing a digital version, but you want your physical space to also be well kept. So once I got there, first of all, the placement of the furniture made the place feel so much smaller. Like in the pictures, whether with the elongated lens, like the place felt big. But the layout of the furniture and the dimness of the lighting made the place feel so dark and so small. I walked in a few different places and it was cluttered. And so it felt completely night and day. Not so much in the way that I was like, okay, this isn't even the same place, but it was, I felt fooled. And so if you're going to be mixing types of staging, or if you're going to do digital staging as the way to be able to lure people in, you do want to make sure that the physical space is at least upkept, that you've changed the lighting, that you play with the furniture, that you make sure that it's an inviting experience. Because in today's world, there are so many competitors and different pricing out here that you want to give it your best shot. Now, have you had any experiences like that?
Absolutely. Of course I have. And that's why it's important that it's disclosed, right? In the marketing, that it says like these pictures have been virtually staged or virtually enhanced, whatever the verbiage or the wording is. It's important to do that because to your experience, when you walk in, now you feel like you've been catfished. It's almost like, it's just not a great feeling, right? Because you see one thing and then what you're seeing is different, Now there are some people who, I think they go about it in a good way. And that's like, here's what it looks like, but here's what it could look like. So like you're showing what the reality is, and then you're including the possibilities as well. But again, it goes back to changing the place could have been in the delivery that you saw it, but paint would have went a long way. Absolutely. And the lighting, things could have been still not to your liking, but that alone would have made it feel like a bigger space and maybe more inviting. The clutter is not going to feel so great, but it would have changed a little bit about that energy, the vibe you felt the moment you walked into that space. So I definitely know what you're talking about, and it's such a bummer and a letdown when you're like, that is not what I saw. And that's why I always say it's so important to see it in person, in real time. because what I have done personally, so if I use staging, I do not stage every room.
Okay.
We don't do that. We are going to stage key spaces: the kitchen, the living room, the dining room, and the primary bedroom. And that's really it. Now, if there's another space that I feel needs to have something added, we will address it. And then what I can use, like, and this is for like a vacant property specifically that I'm speaking to, I may use virtual staging in the pictures to show you like the other rooms, but I'm still going to show you the blank room as well. So you're able to see everything, right? So you still have possibilities with reality all at the same time. So people will say, oh my God, I thought this room was furnished. I was like, no, it's blank here. And then this is a side by side of what it can be, just so you have that full feeling. Now, you know, so like a home that somebody's currently residing in, and you know, sometimes when you're seeing a home, that homeowner may already be in progress to like moving out. So there's certain spaces you still want to keep a little bit of that home element to it, to have that feeling without it being so empty. But everything is always a case-by-case scenario anyway.
Well, Anastasia dropped in the chat. She said one time she went to see an apartment and it was beautiful, but the hallway smelled like garbage, and she couldn't even think about that apartment after just smelling that. And so, like, lighting granted, I had a similar experience where it wasn't quite the same, but there was, I went to look at an apartment once, and someone was cooking something, and I don't know what they were cooking, but I could smell it so strongly in the hallway, and it gave me a headache. And I don't know, like, I'm not prone to headaches,
Right.
but whatever that scent was, like, I didn't care about the apartment anymore. It was like, okay, this is going to be the norm. I can't do this. And so some things are outside of your control. Like, you cannot control your neighbors. You cannot control elements outside. But even like taking the extra step of maybe lighting a candle and making it just a little bit more inviting, and doing something that's neutral. So not something that's overwhelming and like glaring, but just like smells like cookies or smells like freshness. It can make a difference.
And it's interesting that you say that, because I remember one time I was having an open house. I was like, ooh, maybe I should bake cookies, and or at least
just not burn the cookies,
or warm up the cookies that I have. But then it was like, you don't want the smell of the aroma of the cookies actually to take over the house. So it was like something I hadn't thought about, but when I had conversation and I read up on it, so it's something you want to be mindful. So you do, like, if you are going to light a candle, you want it to be something that's like very like lightly scented, you know, like maybe it's like that linen scent, you know. I think that's like a subtle aroma that can be used in this space. And you don't want it to overpower the house either, because then I'm like, are we hiding something? You know what I mean? Like, is there something else going on? So that's a reason you want to be mindful of even when you are using scents in spaces. So, you know, like there's certain locations like I've done it where I place like a candle or something, and it might be in the living room and it might be in a bathroom, but I'm not putting it throughout the whole house, because I just, you know, as long as the house doesn't stink.
Exactly. You just want it to be a little tempting.
You just want to give it that, like, that cozy, warm, that fuzzy feeling, right? So, so I'll do something like that, or I would recommend somebody to do something like that.
Now, I know one of the things that you touched on is that you don't have to stage the whole house. How you have different parts that you focus on. I know one person that I worked with, one family that I worked with just actually recently, they were putting their house on the market. And in New York City, we all know that we always tend to have more stuff than we do space.
Right.
And so one of the biggest commodities in New York City is closets, right? And so if you need to show off that you have closets, or first of all, if you have an abundance of closets, like what? That's my love language.
Right.
But if you have very few closets, in either case, that's something that you may want to focus in on, because you can best believe that they are going to open the closet because they want to see what it looks like. And if they walk in and it's a hazard with stuff falling in on them, that's not a good sign. And so with this one family that I worked with, we staged their whole closet. Like, we reorganized their closet. And this isn't, they were still living in the space. So we weren't trying to make it look like they didn't live there.
Right.
They still lived there, but we just went through, we decluttered, we got rid of stuff, we reorganized it so that it was more practical for them. And then what that does is, not only does it make the space look better, but it also, if you're staging your home, you're preparing to move. Why move things that you don't want and that don't fit and just pay abundance in price if you don't have to? Right. Get rid of that stuff now and save yourself some money down the line. And so when we ended up restaging this closet, the next day they had a showing, and the first thing the people talked about was, oh my God, you have so much closet space. Like, it has direct, tangible benefits. It's not science. It's not lost in the details. It's not things they don't say. It's things they will tell you. Like, it will become to the forefront of attention. Like, oh, this person pays attention to details. Like, this is what I can see. Right.
Yeah. No, the closet space is huge. And, I think for a lot of people, and I'm going to go, this might be a stretch, I think there's never enough closet space. Okay. So when you see like a nice closet, whether it's a walk-in or it's just a deep closet, you get excited because you're like, great, I could add more stuff. Or, they have like, this is your area of expertise. Like, so many different ways that you can organize the closet, set up shelves, and all of a sudden the closet that looked like it just had one rack where you can just hang up all your clothes. Now you have like, a top layer, a bottom layer, you have a shelf somewhere in between. Like, so much is being able to be done in such a small space that it feels so big.
Absolutely. And in today's world, we have access to so much, right? So yes, you can go out and spend whatever money you want to get a custom closet. But then there are tons of ways that you can just add in a bookcase. You can add in a shelving unit. Like, there are so many ways to take a small, simple closet and give yourself more opportunity.
Right.
So it can be as inexpensive or as expensive as you want it to be. It all depends on your taste, but it also depends on the people you want to attract. So if you have a house that is going to New York prices, right? then you don't want it to look like a discount. You want it to look like quality. Right. So when you present it that way, then that's who you attract.
Period.
Okay, so now, with that being in mind, we know that there's different types of staging in terms of different elements. We talked about decluttering, we talked about neutralizing, we talked about adding lighting, removing bulky furniture, restyling things. Like, one of the things I know that I end up doing both as a stager but also as an organizer is, oftentimes when people move into a space, whether they own it or they rent it, the movers come into the space, they drop the stuff off, and the furniture never moves. Like, it stays in the same space for 20 years because the mover didn't put it against the wall, they left it in the center, and you just never bothered to change it. And so it's a very real case. And so I know there have been times where I just change the furniture around and it changes the entire feel of the space. I've had it where people walked into it and like, oh my God, this feels like a total new space. And so so if you're dealing with things on a budget and you are trying to be very, very cost effective, but still want to change the space and maximize it, that's something that's free. Like, you can do that yourself. Play around with your furniture.
Right.
And if you have lots of furniture, maybe everything isn't needed. Like, if you have if you have held every piece of furniture that every family member has given away for the last 20 years, sometimes less is more. And so it's playing around with that and making sure that you have enough in the space to showcase its best assets without overcrowding it.
Absolutely. I agree.
So it's not rocket science. It's really just paying attention to those details so that others can feel welcomed into your space and not be completely drowned out that it is your space.
Yeah. And, and I think this also, part of it comes down to like, I guess, individuality. Or so what I've noticed, at least as I'm working with different groups of people, so you have different generations, over the years. So like, maybe like grandparents, they've held on to a lot more, right? So they have a lot more stuff. But what I'm noticing as I'm like in like the millennial space is that they're more minimalist than ever before, in terms of how they're setting up their home. So they're definitely like, with that less is more, I think it's very attractive to the current younger consumers that are coming into the market now. So I think when you said less is more, I think that plays such a key role into the market today. When you're coming in, because again, it's just a lot easier to like see yourself there and then just like have that feel that you're looking for, like where it's not overpowering or overcrowded, it's loud and yelling at you. It's just like, okay, well, maybe I could throw in another piece of furniture right here without doing too much. So I think all those are important elements.
Listening to you talk, I couldn't help but think of the kitchen. And so, especially for a house that you're living in, like another free thing to do, put your dishes away. Like you should not have a full dish drain of dishes. And I'm joking, but I'm really being serious. Like, especially in New York, and if we're talking New York City, especially Long Island, you may be able to get some counter space. But in New York City, counter space is a luxury. Mm-hmm. So you do not want it full of appliances, full of dishes, full of yesterday's food. Like, clear off your counter space, because the less counter space you have, the more you need to have nothing on it. Like, if you have a little bit of counter space, there not even a coffee maker should really be on it, because that's crowding the space. And so you really want to amplify, and everything that you put on it detracts. And so making sure that the area is clear, making sure that there's nothing impeding the walkway, making sure, like, when you first walk into, you almost want a friend to come in before you have a staging or something like that, and get a fresh take on it. Like, what is the first thing their eye is drawn to? Is it the crack that is by the light switch? Because all it takes is going to the hardware store and replacing that cover.
Yeah.
Like that's a $5 fix.
Not even.
What is the first thing your eye is drawn to?
Right.
Like, you have been in the space so long, you become immune to it. You become immune to the scents. You become immune to the lighting. You become immune to the defects. But somebody who doesn't know the space, they see everything at a glance. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes just having that fresh eyes is what you need in order to get proper perspective to be able to readjust the room.
Absolutely. And I think that is, like you said, it just plays such a big part and big role in it, especially the kitchen, because there's certain places like you frequent a lot, right? And the kitchen is probably like that one place. I mean, I'm a person who walks to the fridge 17 times as if something new is going to pop up. So just going in and out of that space, right? It's definitely like, it's the center of the home, right?
Absolutely.
So it's definitely somewhere that, you said, well, as you were speaking and you were saying, like, keep the counters clean. And, I know on your last live you shared this. It's just all about organizing what you have in your cabinet space, right? Mm-hmm. Or the pantry, wherever you have those spaces set that you can put it. So, like, you're using the coffee maker every day. So put it in a place that's, at the front, easy to access, versus like you have, maybe you're not baking a cake every day and you have like your cake mixer you could store that a little bit further in the back of the cabinet. So, just making things a lot more accessible to you and just doing it in a way that just keeps like organization and makes for a cohesive space.
Absolutely. So what we're going to do is we're probably going to wrap it up in the next couple of minutes. But if you are on the live now and you have any questions or you have any experiences that you want to share, feel free to drop it in the chat. We love to hear from you. But while you're dropping it in the chat, I'm going to ask you, what would you say is one of your most memorable experiences when it comes to staging? Good or bad?
So this one was a little challenging, and it's just the setup of the home. So this is actually in Long Island. So it's like a Victorian home, right? And in the front, it had like this house. I said you would always escape because I've never seen a house with so many like doors. Like the front had a door, the side had a door, the right side had a door, the side of the house had a door, the primary bedroom had a door outside, the living room you had doors for days.
Who was trying to get out?
I mean, you were definitely getting out. There was no way that you couldn't escape, and the basement had doors, so it was just like everywhere. And so it was interesting because when you went in through that, so when you go up the stairs, the front door, I had 2 French doors installed. And this is also because working with a stager, so somebody just like yourself, I was like bouncing the idea off with the contractor, and they're like, just 1 door, and I'm like, no, it's gonna throw it off. But when the stager came in and like reiterated my initial vision, it felt good. But because of the way when you go in through that, you couldn't have that as the front door. It was almost like it had to be like, how would I say it, like a facade almost, right? So you would think you're using this space as your front door, but the front door was over to the right and it leads you right into the foyer. So in front of this French door, what I had to do was I did an L-shaped couch, right? So because it was kind of weird when you're looking at it, because I would have to show you the picture, but I can't pull it up right now. But it was just such a quirky setup. But because I was adamant about the staging, and after I had the furniture delivered, it was like, I see why you did what you did. Everybody who came in through the house, nobody even noticed the front door was blocked with an L-shaped couch. They just saw the main entrance that leads you right into the foyer before you go up the grand staircase as like, oh, this is the front door, this is the foyer, this is a living room, then you have the kitchen and the dining room over in the back. And I'm like, but if I didn't set up that space, you would have opened the main doors and you're like, what do I do here? So
it sounds great. You use the furniture to redirect their attention.
Exactly. So it was just like, so when they came back, so when the buyer came back to the house, they're like, wait, how do we set it up? So I just shared the picture with them because I had it of the setup. So it just kind of reiterated the importance of staging, because had that not been set from the start, a lot of people would have came in a little confused, and it's like, yeah, you should do this, and then the TV will go on this wall, and so it's like too much explaining versus as them just being able to see it in real time. And then again, they don't even realize, because in front of the French doors we put like a sheer curtain, put the curtain rod and a sheer curtain, so it just made it just like look like everything just flowed. So I think it goes such a long way. It's an investment that I don't think it hurts you, whether you're just reorganizing the space or you're fully staging, the home. It's all to the benefit of you as the seller, but it's also a benefit to the buyer, because they're able to get the feel that you feel in the home, but without it being like cluttered. They just have that, it feels homey, it feels like a place I can call home, and I can have my family and friends be a part of.
In New York, especially some of the houses I've seen, they have that open concept where you
Very
have multiple rooms in one space.
Yeah.
And so you have to use the furniture to create those zones. Matter of fact, we have a couple comments for you in the chat that's saying you use the furniture to break up the space. You were able to distinguish one room from another. And in those open concept rooms, you have to.
Yep.
Because if not, it all blurs together, and what should feel like a large space can actually feel like a small space.
Yeah. So it does make all the difference. I think that's where the value comes in, right? That's where the value comes in. So I mean, having somebody that does what you do, and that's why I bring in someone like you. I don't always try to figure it out, because sometimes I need a different lens, a different set of eyes to help me see, or maybe even confirm what I think I'm seeing. And sometimes it's the smallest tweaks. Like I said, right? I was like battling with like, oh, somebody's telling me it's just one door. And I'm like, you need a double door. I don't, and I couldn't figure out what type of double door. The stager came in and she said French doors. That was it. It was so simple. Like, like the concept is there, but sometimes you need the professional, and you needed the experts such as yourself to be able to give that fresh perspective, and it is a game changer. So I think it's well worth it. Well worth it.
Absolutely. So here, you've heard it here, folks. When it comes to staging, like, there are so many different elements. If we were to give a quick recap of all the many things we talked about today, we've talked about how decluttering matters. You don't want it to look cluttered when you walk into the space. We've talked about how staging your home can make it more appealing to buyers, how it can make you stand out from the crowd, how it can quite frankly sell your home faster, how it is a investment. So not only it's an investment on multiple sides. First of all, it allows it to potentially be on the market less. It allows people to be able to see it and all the possibilities. But it also talks about, in terms of the buyer's perspective, a cheat sheet and how they can lay out things and give them different ideas for the space. We've talked about how there's digital staging, how there's physical staging, how the two can both be utilized but should match up to a degree. We talked about how it doesn't have to be expensive. Like, you don't have to do the whole house. You can focus on different key areas. But we've also talked about how it's the little things that make a big difference, whether it's decluttering your space, whether it's putting away the dishes, whether it is making sure that you have a fresh perspective for what the buyer sees when they walk into the house. Staging is a way to truly get the biggest investment, because when you think about your home, this isn't a small thing. This is a huge investment for most people, whether you're selling it or whether you're buying it, and you want to make sure that you're getting the most out of it. So one thing that I'll say is a lot of the things we talked about tonight are from the buyer's perspective, but when it comes, or not from the buyer, from the seller's perspective, but when it comes from the buyer's perspective, staging also allows you to see how you can utilize the space. So not only is it helpful for the buyer, but it's helpful for you, because it gives you different ways that you can be creative and how you can maximize the space. But it also tells you, like, when you're seeing something digitally, to question it when you go and see it physically. See if the two match up. It gives you insights. And so I am so glad that we were able to jump on tonight and to be able to have this conversation. For everyone who's joined, we appreciate you so much. Feel free to drop questions in the chat. We will check in, and if you have a question right now, feel free to drop it now and we will answer it. If not, we thank you so much for joining us. Feel free to share this with others who are in the area, who are looking to stage or looking for questions or looking for insights. And in case anybody wanted to reach out to you, how can they reach you?
All right. If you wanted to reach out to me, you can text me or call me at 631-252-1334, or you can send me a DM on Instagram at yours truly, Rachel. and my email, rachelyourrealtor@gmail.com. So there's many, many ways of reaching me or sending me a message in the Messenger app here, and I will be sure to answer any questions you have. If I can assist any friends or family that, are in need of my expertise, I'll be happy to help, and hopefully me and Rachelle, we could collaborate on organizing their space. Get their space right.
Absolutely. Look forward to it. Be sure to like and share this video. If you're not already following Get Your Space Right, go ahead and hit that follow button, because we would love to share more content with you in the future. And we'll be sure to drop any comments in the chat with ways that you can reach out.
All right.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks for joining. Have a great night.